Good morning, and thank you for attending Petoskey Chamber's TriShare Informational Employment Webinar. We are super excited to bring this to you as TriShare is a phenomenal model tool that was put forth with some recent legislation in the last couple of years that the Petoskey Chamber, as well as the Northern Michigan Chamber Alliance, was at the forefront in advocating for to make sure that we were addressing those critical workforce issues in our community, childcare, housing, and transportation. And this is a pilot model, but what's really interesting is the ground that has been covered just in the last year or so with TriShare in allowing employers to be more involved from an HR perspective in assisting their employees for an affordable affordable childcare opportunities that give them that full, let's say, range of life in making their homes more affordable, their children's care more affordable, and therefore making them more productive workers. So we're glad that you're here. There'll be time for questions afterwards. As I said, this will live on the Chamber website as well. And if you have questions, you'll get Christina's information afterwards. So now I'd like to turn it over and introduce Christina Bajtka, who is the TriShare coordinator for United Way of Northwest Michigan, and is really kind of pulling together this incredible program throughout our 10-county region. And so we're specifically going to talk a little bit about opportunities here in Emmett County now. So Christina, I'm going to turn it over to you. And thank you so much for joining us.
Well, good morning. Thank you for everybody to join. And I'm glad that you're here to learn about TriShare. We are very happy with the success of it so far in the northern region. We have saved families over $97,000. We were one of the first 3 pilot hubs. There was a suburban hub, an urban hub, and a rural hub. And now we are up to 13 hubs statewide. So the program continues to grow. It is being looked at to be put in the governor's 5-year budget. So we will know about that later on. Nikki can keep us posted on that, or keep you posted if that all goes through. So to start out, one thing I wanted to let you know about TriShare is that infant care, according to the Economic Policy Institute, is $10,861 annually. We are seeing in northern Michigan, it's about $220 to $275 a week, which equates to $11,436 to $14,388 a year. So that's why these programs have been developed to help families afford quality childcare, as well as help the childcare businesses be stable so that they're not having to collect directly from families. United Way of Northwest Michigan pays them once they're a TriShare participant. So just kind of wanted to frame that around the cost, because some of us have children and some of us don't, and costs have changed over those years.
What's that? Breakfast is almost Poppy. Dad needs to watch this for work. I need you to not touch the computer.
So TriShare.
Just about. I'm just.
TriShare is a program where the cost of the employee's childcare is shared equally among the employer, the employee, and the state of Michigan in a 3-way split, with coordination being provided by a regional hub, which is us, the United Way of Northwest Michigan. Employers must be located in one of these counties. They can have multiple locations, but basically their central or their payroll would need to start in one of these counties. And the map is really from Manistee over to Wexford, Missaukee, up to Charlevoix, Emmett, over to Leelanau. So give you kind of a map in your head. All right, well, we're going opposite ways today, apparently. There are no residency requirements for employees or childcare providers. So employees can live out of the 10 counties, and also their childcare provider can be in another county. Basically, parents of children who are 0 to 17 years old who have an employer that participates are welcome to apply. All licensed care options qualify. So that can be full-time or part-time traditional childcare. It can be preschool. It can be before and after school programs or summer camps. Parents choose who their caregiver is in TriShare. It is all about parent choice. They can have a combination of these programs as well. So some parents There's only a three-hour preschool program. They're going to need that wraparound after preschool care. You can have multiple providers once you're approved in TriShare. TriShare does have an income eligibility criteria. This is on the screen is the one for 2023. It does change yearly. So it is based on the household income. So that is why we at United Way will do all of the intake, because employees may be uncomfortable sharing their household income with their employers. We will verify the employee's income with the participating employer, but not their household. And that will never be shared. And the other goal behind that is you don't determine eligibility. So therefore, it's a positive relationship. This is a great benefit that you're giving to your employees. We want to make sure that we support that positive, good reason why you're doing this. And so it takes away that piece or that responsibility from employers. As you can see, with a family of 4, the income scale goes up to $97,500. It's to meet that ALICE population, which is the asset limited income constraint employee. So typically it's two workers in the household that are just still struggling to make their normal bills. So what are the employer responsibilities? We need you to promote the benefit out to your employees once you decide that you'd like to participate. We'll need you to verify their gross monthly income. That is just a quick email between us back and forth. And then we'll need you to coordinate the payroll deduction for the employee's 1/3 of care costs. We contact the employee's childcare provider. We figure out what their care costs a week, and we send you an email that gives you the cost and the breakdown with employee, employer in the state of Michigan. And then what we do is at the end of the month, we send you the invoice for all of the employees that are participating, and you just pay from one invoice. And then the only other thing that you need to do is inform the United Way of Northwest Michigan if an employee leaves on their own or is terminated for other reasons. Their benefits end on their termination date. How do employees apply or obtain more information? You send everybody to TriShare.org. You can go there. There's an employer tab, there's an employee tab, and there's a childcare provider tab. There's an interested button or apply here. And that's how employees start their process with TriShare. That comes directly to me at United Way. And then we start working on the eligibility process. And coming soon, we have a new benefit, which is called DuoShare, where TriShare is a 3-way split. DuoShare will be a 2-way split that will not have a state component. We're finding some employers want to offer a child care benefit to all of their workers, where TriShare only covers a certain percentage of them. DuoShare can be that mix where you can offer DuoShare alone, you can offer DuoShare in combination with TriShare, or you can just offer TriShare. But DuoShare, there's no income verification because there's no state funding component. You can also really customize this particular benefit to the percentage of the childcare you want to cover. With TriShare, it's 33%. With this one, you can say, I want to cover 10% of all of my employees' childcare costs across the board. And we also can put a cap on that per employee. But both benefits are customizable to you. What employees do you want to cover? How do you want to cover them? You know, how many employees in each, if an employee has 3 children, can you cover all 3? Do you want to cover the first child? Are you going to do infant care 0 to 5? What is that sweet spot for your company? You figure out your budget, and then we create the program around that. As long as you're meeting TriShare criteria of the 33%, you fall into that category. DuoShare, it's whichever percent that you'd like. And here is my contact information. You can always find me on TriShare.org. There's lots of quick clickable buttons if I didn't cover something that you wanted to know more about. This was just our quick view of TriShare, and feel free to ask your questions.
Thank you, Christina. I think it's really important too, you and I have talked a little bit about, when we look at childcare as a employment barrier, there are some costs and statistics that have recently come out due to some studies. If you wanted to share those too with this group to kind of help them understand why really having employers in the childcare space as far as an opportunity for assistance and benefit helps as such a retention and recruitment tool, because that cost as a nation is really displacing a lot of people from the workforce.
Yeah. Recently, when I was doing some investigation, I found the staggering number of $122 billion is what the infant toddler crisis is costing us across the United States. And that's parents, employers, and taxpayers in lost earnings, productivity, and revenue. And this was a report published this February by Ready Nation. So staggering. Also, if you put in perspective the cost of childcare, it is $1,573 less than in-state tuition at a 4-year university for 1 year. So now we're comparing infant with 1 year of college, infant care. I find that staggering. One other thing that I thought was really interesting is, where is that? Let me find that number for you quick. A minimum wage worker, which we're figuring makes about $20,072 a year, would have to work 28 weeks, January to July, to pay for one infant.
So it's a big barrier from that perspective. And this isn't something that's necessarily in your realm, and teeing everybody up for questions and kind of understanding what's happening in our own county. But, North Central Michigan College, as well as a very large advisory team that includes the chamber, as well as United Way of Northwest Michigan, as well as Great Start Collaborative and many others, have been working with them to kind of put together a child care initiative, looking at how we make that model more successful, because we're talking TriShare's affordability, but also we have to understand that the child care issue for our employers and our employees and our workforce is also an accessibility and a quality issue. And then there's also the early childhood education, because the typical child care provider is also in an ALICE population and living paycheck to paycheck, because we're not meeting that true cost of childcare. So programs like TriShare and DuoShare really do give employers an opportunity to step into this space and really help their employees and their families have a more balanced life. And I would offer anybody any opportunity to ask some questions, especially in the understanding of, is this something that fits your, your particular business? Also, Christina, I would ask you, how long is the process? If an employer is interested and goes through that, they don't necessarily know how many of their employees have how many children, so what are some of the hurdles that United Way helps employers overcome with instituting these programs?
Yeah, that's great, Nikki. That's a good question. We have developed a Google form that we can send to employers that will ask just generic questions. Talking about the household income, does this fit? It's a yes or no. It's not that they have to report out. How many children do they have and what age groups do they fall into? This will help you set a budget. Budget is really important with TriShare. You want this benefit to be offered for at least a full year of childcare. It's hard for employees to go from paying 33% to back to paying 100%. So it's better to limit the amount of slots that you take. And that's the other thing. If you say we can only afford 5 slots for our particular organization, how do you want to divvy those up? Closest to the 200% of poverty range, the first in, first out. It is employer choice. This is an employer benefit and can be customized to your budget. So really knowing the budget is the one thing that we could work on together. But implementation, we just have employers sign an MOU, which is basically an agreement between us that here's what you will do, here's what we'll do, here's how the program runs. And then there's a 90-day written termination should you not want to continue TriShare. And that is to give those employees time to make sure that they can cover that cost again. So pretty simple and easy. We try to make it less paperwork for the employers, the employees, and the child care providers. We do all the work behind the scenes. So pretty simple to implement.
Does anybody have any questions? Tina, I can't see if you're talking. Everybody is on mute, by the way. I muted everyone. So if you have a question, feel free to unmute.
I'm still upset that you muted me.
Tina, let's see if I can help you out there.
All
There we
right,
go.
I got it now. Sorry. When is the dual share going to be available?
We are looking at rolling that out September 1st.
Oh, so right around the corner. Okay.
Yep, we're in the testing and pilot phase, getting websites up and running. So, yep.
We just did a daycare survey of all our employees 2 weeks ago. So we're working on this as an important priority for Birchwood. But does this work? We are implementing Section 125 flexible spending account for daycare. Could these work congruently together, or?
Is it a specific dependent care FSA?
Yes.
Yes, then you can. Basically, the employee would pay themselves back. So they would still do the payroll deduction. It
Okay.
would still come into United Way
Okay.
from you, and then they would reimburse themselves for those care costs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then other than the direct daycare costs that the employer would help with, are there any other like administrative fees, anything like that?
Duo Share will have an administrative fee based on how many employees. And we're just playing with that right now, but we're trying to do the tiered structure so that it gets less the more employees that you have. So it makes it more affordable for everyone.
Okay.
TriShare does not.
Okay. All right. Good.
What are the likelihoods that the TriShare program income limits would be raised in the future?
They will not.
Okay.
That has been a discussion with the state stakeholder group for a while, and they are specifically targeting the Alice population. And that's where you can do the TriShare, Duo Share combination together. So you could cover all employees below or above it, should you want to, with Duo Share.
I think Duo Share is going to be an extremely successful model and really work for, and this is, let's just say this is a great opportunity for our region because our United Way is really working hard on this. This is not necessarily statewide. Am I correct, Christina?
Duo Share might eventually roll out statewide, but right now it's only going to roll out Northern Michigan.
Yeah. So it's definitely something that, you know, when TriShare was rolled out, we saw that, to your point, Tom, that as we were focusing on the Alice population, we still have that middle population, if you will, that could still really, really benefit this. And from employers who are saying, well, gosh, you know, my employees make more than that, but they absolutely need this as well. So having this opportunity in our region is going to be a big game changer, I think, for us. And I think, too, one of the things we need to hit on, Christina, is that when we talk about accessibility and availability of childcare, honestly, Emmett County is very much in a lack of provider position right now. We lost so many during 2020, so many centers closed, so many individual homes closed that were doing childcare, and we haven't gotten that back. And so a lot of this too is going to be, if you currently have employees who have childcare spaces that they're utilizing within the community, that's a huge thing for them, because, and as we work with programs like North Central Michigan Colleges, looking at what do we look like in 3 to 5 to 10 years as far as having more availability, Duo Share does help those families in the interim too.
Mm-hmm. I would absolutely agree. And we're looking at potentially expanding that once we get the childcare up and running to possibly doing transportation or housing vouchers, if that's something that employers are interested in. So Duo Share can be customizable, beyond customizable, I guess is the best way to explain it. We want to make sure that the benefits that we're offering fit our region. and what does our region need? And so as we go down this road, things change every day with TriShare. We try and go, okay, how do you want to do that? Every employer looks different. Every way they offer the benefit looks different. It's just more of a discussion. Have a discussion with me and tell me what your goal is. You know, talk to me about what your budget is, and we'll find a path that works for the employer in either program.
Christina, in your hub that you oversee, how many employers are actually involved currently?
We have about 35 right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Christina, I have a question or two questions for you. One is, could you have, let's say, 5 families in TriShare and then also have families in DuoShare? So could we, as an employer, do both?
Yep, absolutely. They can be standalone programs or in combination, and there will be one intake for either. So we're designing, we've specially designed a platform for TriShare and DuoShare that the intake goes into one database, and it has alerts and everything that we need all set up, but it was customizable just to this program.
Okay. Second question, and I'm going to put you on the spot, but so we have an executive team meeting monthly, and I was curious if you would be willing to speak at our next one. Like, if the more I look into this, kind of present it to our team, if you would be willing to do a Q&A with them. And there's only 8 of us, so it's not a huge group.
No, that's totally fine. I would love to do that. I like going to any employer meetings because a lot of times there's questions in different departments or it affects people differently. And then I can give the full picture of how the program works.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any tax breaks available to the companies that are doing that or anything like that? Or is it basically just an employee benefit that we're helping with?
Well, you would have to definitely check with your tax advisor
Okay.
to see if there is something that you can do with it. We do have one tax guide on the website that the state put out, but it's more about pre-tax benefit. The benefit I see to the employers is just offering more things that are different for
Right.
different employees. And the second part is you're paying 33%, but your employee's getting 66% of their childcare costs
Oh,
reduced.
absolutely. It's a huge benefit. So.
Yeah, but I would check with your tax advisor to see if there's something else. They haven't given us any real specific guidance because each employer has a different situation.
Right. So I guess that is one benefit of the flexible spending account from an employer standpoint.
And doing both with TriShare and having the dependent care FSA, then that would make it a pre-tax benefit for your employees, which
Okay.
is very nice.
Yeah. No, great. Wonderful.
That's the first time anyone's asked that question, Tina.
They're smart in Birchwood. They know the things. And does anyone else have any questions? And Christina, I will follow up with the kind of putting you on the spot. It's with your information out there, and I'll make sure, like I said, that I share this video out to everyone and direct links to your contact information that's here on the call today. And to Jessica's point, if somebody needs you to come in and if they have more questions or deeper questions or presenting to a larger entity within your organization, Christina will definitely do that. So, and we'll definitely have another opportunity for everybody to learn more once DuoShare launches. Again, this is a regional thing launching first here in our 10 counties. So this is a really important opportunity for us as a community, as employers, to be able to make sure that we're offering those benefits that really engage and retain that workforce and recruit that workforce that we need to make our businesses more successful. So thank you, Christina, very much.
And thank you, Nikki. I appreciate partnering with you and all your businesses taking time to come on board now and watch this today or watch the recording. We're excited to have more businesses. We have more money to spend that can be spent right here in our region, and we want every dollar gone.
We absolutely want more participation from Emmett County. So it's an opportunity for us to really step into this space too. So we'll make sure everyone gets your information. Thank you all for joining us today. And I'll make sure I do a follow-up email with everyone. And like I said, watch for more information on the September 1st DuoShare launch as well and see what we can do with that. So thank you all. I hope you have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.